Hi, I'm Snowy. This is Multifamily Playbook. When we started in real estate, I was managing a few single-family rentals. The maximum was 16 units. And honestly, it was a chaos. I used spreadsheets at the beginning. After a few single families, I started using Redsman. Before I started property management system, all the receipts, invoices, they were in the folder. I had a few folders to divide those payments or receipts on each different properties. After a few rental properties, I realized early if I wanted to grow, I couldn't operate like a hobbyist. I had to treat it as a business. That's why in early 2015, even we just owned a few single-family rentals, I made a decision that felt way ahead of our scale. Can you imagine that the lowest requirement on using Redsman and some other property management system that require you to have at least 50 units or above to use their system? I decided to do so, and I told them that I will pay the lowest cost that at least 50 units would pay to use the software. At the time, it felt pretty expensive because if I divided the cost into 4 single families compared to 50 units or 50 rental properties. But what I was really buying was discipline, a system, a way to run our rental properties like a professional, like a real operator. I know most of the landlords wait till they have dozens of rental properties before they invest in systems. I did the opposite. I built the systems first, and that's exactly why we were able to grow a little bit faster. Without the system, we get burned out easier, faster. It's probably harder to check on our residents, maintenance requests, vendors, receipts, invoices, and our finance in our head forever. We have a lot of other things that we need to handle with. And also, our resident experience probably will not be as good as they could use the system to pay their rent, submit their maintenance request. With the systems, we save our time, our energy, reduce our stress, and we look more professional and credible to our lenders or our investors. I didn't build our systems because I had to scale. We got scale because we built the systems. So, like I said, my first big step was investing in property management system, Redsman. I chose Redsman when we had a very tiny portfolio. Why? Because I wanted to learn how to operate like a pro. Redsman gave me the structure. It handled accounting, rent collection, resident management, maintenance work order requests, vendor invoices, payments, bookkeepings, and real reporting. I know a lot of big firms or property management companies using like Yardi, RealPage, Entrada, and other property management software. And that's how I trained myself to use a real property management system to help my business. And yes, it was a stretch for me at the beginning, but it also forced me to raise again. And listen, you don't have to use Redsman. There are many other options, like I said, Yardi, RealPage, Entrada, Rent Manager. The key is not the brand. The key is the habit. Treating your rentals like a business. The core systems that I still rely on today. No matter we get a 10 units, 50 units, or even 200 units, we still rely on 6 core systems. First, resident management, that we can manage or easy contact with our residents. 2, rent collection. The system should be able to provide online payment for our residents and easy to be checked. Number 3, maintenance requests. Every work orders could be found or logged in the system, and our resident can see the result of the work request. Nothing else gets lost. Lease management. We can do our application, renewal leases, all through Redsman or the property management system. And then we can call or email or text our prospects, residents, and everything is checkable. So that would dispute something like he said, she said, the resident said, the maintenance man said. financing report, consistently monthly financing report that tells us, all the investors, exactly where the NOI stand, turnover calendars, tracking move-outs, move-ins, make-readies, and marketing, so the units don't sit empty forever. As we know that every single day on the empty unit or vacant unit, it's a loss to the landlord. The magic is not any just one tool. It's how all functions connected. When the rent feeds into the reporting, and the reporting shows the delinquencies, and the maintenance log proves how fast or how slow our maintenance team fix the issues, that's when we have the controls. No matter where we are. For example, our properties in Kentucky, Ohio, Mississippi, and I live in Texas. And that's when we are a real operator, not just a landlord. And remember, you don't have to start big. Now maybe some people would ask, hey Snowy, I can't afford Redman. I know they increased the minimum size of the portfolio that you have to use Redman or like a portfolio. I remember a few years ago, they request that you have to have at least 125 units to use their portfolio. But if you are willing to pay the minimum cost or their entry level to use their system, you can still use them. And I remember a few years ago, Buildium, they didn't have a bigger number for the users to start. So the cost might be a little more affordable. Just do your own homework and choose what system would work for you. The point isn't which system you are using or you pay for. The point is that you started building some systems. I know some smarties over there, they build their own system. Like a friend of ours, he is managing more than 300 single families in the Bay Area, California. He built his own property management system. That's how smart they are. And I believe there are a lot of other smart people over there. And if you cannot do something like my friends Benjamin do, that to build his own property management system, maybe you can do a lot with Google Drive. You can create something to manage your rental properties, or like share a calendar and a payment app that could help you to collect your rent. And mid-size, you probably can consider App Portfolio, Buildium, Tenant Cloud, and larger portfolios could consider Redman, Yardi, RealPage, and Trada Rent Manager. Anyway, start anywhere where you can afford, but start now. Because the habit of building system is what prepare for your future growth. Systems aren't just being organized, they also give you your life back. They can buy you time, save a lot of your time. They help your team functioning without you managing. They make lenders and investors take you more seriously, and they let you scale from a handful of houses to thousands of doors. I've lived it. Strong systems are the reason why we can grow from small beginners to managing thousands of units in multifamily. So here is my advice. Don't wait till you have 50 units, 100 units to use a system. Start from now, even you have only 2 doors, 3 single rental properties. That mindset shift is a difference between being a hobbyist and becoming a professional operator.